welcome back to another Access 72 video. And in today's video, I'm back with another interview, and I'm here with Graham Mccormack. Graham, how are we?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thank you. I'm good.
Good to hear, and thank you very much for coming on the channel.
No problem, bud.
And so, am I right in saying you're a 35-year-old middleweight who's 8-2?
Yeah, that's right, bud.
That's great. Okay, well, if you are new around here and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you do need like the video, and let's get straight into it. So, question which I always like to start off with: why did you start boxing?
I started boxing when I was 15 years old, and the reason I started, well, I'm from a rough area, man. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of us go to the boxing club, man. Do you know, it's kind of the norm where I'm from. We all at some point go to the boxing club, and I just loved it. And that was it, really, you know.
That's great. And so, do you remember what happened in your first amateur fight?
Yeah. My first amateur fight was brilliant, man. It was I remember it, man. I was 15, first amateur fight. I fought a guy from a club from the other side of the city. I'm actually friends with him now, and it was just a rough fight, man. You know what I mean? And yeah, I won, obviously. You know what I mean? But it was a great fight. It was a great, entertaining fight. There was a lot of people there shouting. I remember how nervous I was. My first fight, you know, it was a nerve-wracking time. But when you're 15, you don't know what to experience.
Yeah.
You don't know what the experience is going to be like. For your first time being in a ring, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. But I loved it, man. But it was very nerve-wracking experience. But it was good.
That's good to
You'll never forget your first fight, you know. You'll never forget your first fight, no matter how long ago it is. 20 years ago, like you know, you'll never forget it, like, you know.
Definitely. And so, throughout your whole amateur period, what was your biggest achievement?
I didn't achieve what I would have liked to achieve, I suppose. I won Limerick titles. I won Munster titles. I got beat in the nationals. When I went up there. I kind of had a stop-start amateur career, man. You know what I mean? I've done a lot of drinking and drugging and getting out of jail, and it kind of kept me in and out of boxing. I would have loved to have been more serious about it, but I didn't take it as serious as I do now. You know what I mean? At such a late age, which is kind of a shame, because I would have achieved a lot more as an amateur if I had gotten as serious as I am now about it. But I just wasn't that serious. From about 15 to 18, I was really serious about it, and then I got a claim and came into some money and started drinking and girls and bought a car, and you know how
other things got in the way, and so
yeah.
Now you're back and you're in the full swing of the professional side. You've had the 10 professional bouts now, and so why did you turn professional when you did?
Why did I turn pro when I did? So I'm a recovering drug addict and alcoholic, man. I struggled a lot. I struggled a lot in my 20s. My bloody dog knows I'm back. I struggled a lot in my 20s with alcohol and drug abuse and going in or jail and stuff. And I got clean and sober at 28, man. And I went back amateur boxing, and I won a Munster League title, and I went up to the Nationals. I got beaten in the Nationals. But I was really enjoying boxing again, man. And I'd done a bit of travelling around the country, sparring some pros in the country. And I got an opportunity to go to Ricky Hatton's and spar over there in England. And I went over, I sparred a really good pro. I got on well, I enjoyed it. And I got an opportunity. I actually sparred another pro in Manchester as well, Paddy McCrory, who's now an IBO world champion, and a friend of mine. I sparred him over in Manchester as well. So I got on well, and when I came back to Ireland, I got 2 offers, man, and I was 30, and I said to my wife, I was like, you know, I've always dreamt of this being a reality, you know, and I lived a real positive life, and I still do, you know. Being clean and sober kind of allowed me to live a positive life and change my view on life. And it was like, seize the moment, you know what I mean? And I'm grateful that I did. 5 years into my career now, I've had an unbelievable career so far, and I'm not finished yet.
Definitely. And to speak a bit more about the story of your career, I mean, it seems very interesting the way that you've gotten back into it, and it's also inspirational. And so what would you kind of say for people who are maybe wanting to become clean and sober and maybe struggling a little bit to do so?
Man, anyone that's struggling with that life, man, you know, I suppose what I can say from what I've learned is there's always a better way of life, man, than that way. Like, I lived that way of life for so long where you think it's normal, and you think you're doing the right thing, but you're not, man. Like, I live, you know, when you're in that tunnel of alcohol and drug abuse, stuff like that, you just see one thing, you know, and it's like, you know, I need to get drinking drugs. And then when you get clean and sober, it broadens your horizons, man. And so many doors open up for you, like, you know. My wife, my at the time, she's my girlfriend, she's my wife now, had left me. You know, my mother and father had no choice but to turn their back on me. I ended up homeless, sleeping on the streets. You know, there's just nothing out there for that life, for drinking drugs. So anyone that's out there struggling right now, you know, all I can say is there is a better way of life. I'm living proof of that today. You know, today I own my own house, I have a car, I have a bank account, I have a beautiful wife, I have beautiful kids, I have a job, I have a great career. If I was drinking and drugging, I would have none of that. You know, I'd have none of it. So, like, all I can say to anyone struggling is give yourself a chance to change your life, because it does work. You know what I mean? It does work, you know. So that's any advice I could give to anyone, you know. Give yourself a chance and make that change.
Definitely, and it's a great message. And I mean, for you, like I said, things have been going very well recently. And so, out of all your 10 professional fights, which one would you say you've performed your best in?
When I won my title, when I won the Celtic title against my now friend Dominic Donegan, I won it over 8 rounds. It was an unbelievable battle, but I boxed very, very well. You know, I performed very, very well, and I won the title. And it was my best performance, you know what I mean? And it was just, everything fell into place for me that night. I wasn't going to be denied, and I boxed out of my skin, you know what I mean? And it paid dividends, you know. I put in an unbelievable camp, and that obviously showed as well on the night. And it was the greatest win of my career, probably the greatest win of my life, man, because I won a title. And I suppose where I'd come from to get to that point in my career was just unbelievable, man, you know. It was just unbelievable.
And well, to kind of carry on from that, how big of an achievement would you say, and for anybody who didn't know, it's the BUI Celtic middleweight champion, which I believe you were, and so how big of an achievement was winning that title?
It was, for me, it was a world title, man, because I was told from such a young age that I'd never amount to anything, and even when I turned pro, people said I'd never win a title. They said I'd never win a fight. You know what I mean? Because I hadn't won any Irish titles as an amateur and stuff like that. And they were like, "Oh, you're not good enough." And but you know, I proved so many people wrong the night I won that title. You know, I proved so many doubters wrong, and I proved myself right. You know, I believed that I would get a title. I promised my son at the time when I turned pro that I'd win him a title, and I won him a title. So that was for him that night. You know, and it was unbelievable. You know, it was just unbelievable. You know, I was so grateful for it, and you know. Even though I lost on Saturday night, you know, I lost bad. You know, I didn't show up well. I didn't show up, and he did. And you know, but I know for a fact I can reach those heights again. You know, I'm on the drawing board and ready to go again in 2023. You know.
That's good to hear. And so, I mean, in the past you have suffered the first defeat, but you managed to bounce back and be able to go on a good run. And so now you've suffered this second defeat. Unfortunately, are you like certain you'll be able to bounce back and just carry on going like you were?
Yeah, man. You know what? But I've been down so much in life, whether it's in boxing or outside of boxing. You know what I mean? I've been wrote off so many times in my life, man. Like from a young age to now, I've been wrote off so many times, and each time I've been wrote off, I've come back and been better. You know what I mean? And I fully believe. You know, Fergus Quinn was very good the other night. He executed a very, very good game plan. He's a good fighter, and he jumped on the opportunity he got. I didn't show up on the night. And I paid the price for it, you know what I mean? There was a couple of things going on in camp and stuff like that, but I'm not an excuse maker or sore loser. The right man won on the night. Fergus Quinn was very, very good, and I wasn't, and that's it. But what I will say is, I will bounce back in 2023. I'm already back in the gym. I went back training yesterday just because I don't want to do my usual and get lazy and put on loads of weight. And you know, I went back training yesterday. I went back to the gym today. You know, there's so much more for me to achieve now, and I want to prove to everyone that even when you're down, you can still get back up. You know what I mean? You can keep moving forward. You just have to never quit. You know what I mean? You know, a loser, I suppose, is somebody who quits when they're down. You know what I mean? Not one of those guys. I will be back, and I will be back better. And I will redeem myself. You know, I feel like I need to redeem myself, because anyone that knows me knows that wasn't the best version of me on Saturday night. You know, now again, not taking anything away from Fergus, it was a very good version of him, and he done exactly what he needed to do. But I know I can be better, and in 2023 I will prove that.
That's great. And so you spoke about how you've gotten straight back into the gym after that defeat. And so what is your main kind of like, is your motivation just mainly the fact of you want to bounce back and you want to win, or is there any other things that are kind of keeping you motivated in the process?
No, like my motivation, I suppose, is my wife and kids motivate me. You know what I mean? To show that, like, especially my son. You know what I mean? To show that even when we lose in life, we can come back. So like that's one part of motivation. Also is that I feel like I need, like I said there, I need to redeem myself. You know what I mean? For myself. And I suppose another part of it is my mental health, man. You know what I mean? I'm a recovering addict. I suffer with mental health all my life, and for me, I need, like, when I'm training, my mental health is at bay, and I can keep it at bay, because I've been known in the past to stop training for a couple of weeks after a fight, and I get really lazy, and I'm eating bad food, and you know, like, maybe you can agree with me, like, but when you eat bad, man, you feel bad, and when you're not doing something, you feel like I don't drink alcohol, obviously, but like I eat bad. Like when you're eating pizza, like no, don't get me wrong, I love takeaway food. When you're eating it all the time, it makes you feel like fucking shit, man. Do you know, it makes you feel so bad, like so. That's probably my biggest motivation, man, is the fact that I just don't want to get into that rut of feeling sorry for myself and fucking, oh, why me? And, you know, it's just, I just don't want to do that, man, because it's not a good place to be for me mentally, or for anyone mentally, you know what I mean? To be on the pity potty and feeling sorry, and you know, that's so, it's just not me. So that's my main motivation, is to keep positive and to, you know, keep happy for Christmas with my beautiful family and enjoy my Christmas. But if I'm not right in my head, man, then no one's going to be right, because I'm going to be moody and acting the prick around my wife and kids. Whereas like if I'm going to the gym every day and I'm eating relatively clean, then, you know, everyone's having a good time and I'm not being a cranky bastard and ruining everyone's Christmas. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. And
that's it,
yeah, it must be quite tough. I mean, I've spoke to fighters that are kind of, you see at like the age of around 30, where like typically people will be going to like more the pub or going out in places like that. Is it hard to kind of like get rid of them distractions and then keep focused on what you need to keep focused on?
No, for like the pub is never really a distraction for me, man. But like I can still be my own worst enemy, like just because I don't drink, you know what I mean? The addict in me always wants to, you know, any addict will tell you like that self-sabotage is a big thing, you know? So like I can, what's hard for me is trying not to sabotage myself with, say, food or not training or, you know, stuff like that. So that's why I didn't fall into that rut of eating bad, not training, and being lazy, because when you fall into that lazy rut, as I call it, is it goes on Monday, then Tuesday, then Wednesday, then Thursday, and before you know, you're 4 weeks down the road, and you're heavy, you're in a bad mood, you're in a bad place mentally, and that's it. So for me, I just got to keep that at bay. So that's why I went back to the gym yesterday, was to just say, okay, I'm not going to fall into that rut, I'm not going to be lazy, I'm not going to be, you know, I'm going to keep the positive side out. I'm not going to let that bad demon take over, you know what I mean, and fucking and control me, you know what I mean. So that's the hardest part for me, you know. It's never a pub or nothing like that. It's just right now I feel good that I went back to the gym, because I know for a fact, I was just talking to my coach on the phone. That's why it took me long to come on to you. I was just talking to my coach on the phone, just making a plan for 2023. I'm going to go back into the camp in the second week of January. So, you know, I'm already looking at the positives. So, like, I've kind of pushed that negative stuff aside already, you know what I mean? And like, even though we took a defeat, I'm going to take it as a lesson more than anything else, you know what I mean, of what I should have done and what I didn't do and what I need to do now going forward.
That's fair. And so, I mean, if you've got a little bit of a plan, I don't know if you can really say it yet, but do you have a possible kind of month that you'll be back fighting?
I was talking to my manager last night. Obviously, I have a ban over being stopped over my team trying to stopping the fight. Right. So I think of a 30-day ban or something like that. So I'm not going to be fighting anyway. But it's looking like end of February, start of March, I'll be back in the ring. I'll get a 6-rounder, and then I want big fights again, man. Because I love being in the big fights, man. Do you know what I mean? I love being in the big. I've been in a couple of big fights. I fought Paul Keane in Scotland. Fought Tom Donegan here. Fought Fergus Quinter tonight. You know, I've been in another couple of big fights. Fought Jordan Latimer, which was kind of a tit for tat fight because we had a bit of beef. You know, I fought Jay Cream a couple of years ago. I like being in big fights, man. I like being in exciting fights. And you know, one thing I will say is the support I get from my hometown, man, is absolutely unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. Even since I lost, man, the amount of messages support. I see some fighters put up like, oh, nobody supports you when you lose. That's not the case for me, man. Like, I've had so much supportive messages from my friends, from my family, from me and my wife, and it's just that really drives me on as well, man. You know, and that was another reason why I went back to the gym. Was like, you know, I have so many people support me. I can't let them guys down, like, you know. Even though we lost it, right? Like, now it's time to come back and show that there's so much more to give, you know.
Definitely. And for people who might be becoming your fans and maybe haven't seen you fight before, what would you say kind of makes you interesting as a fighter?
I'm just excited, man. You know, it's exciting. Something's going to happen. You know what I mean? You know, I'm a come forward fighter. You know, I can box, but I choose not to. You know what I mean? It's always a brawl. It's always a fight. It's always exciting. You know what I mean? So if you come watch me fight or anything like that, you're guaranteed excitement. You know, even the other night, even though I didn't do much, it was still a bit exciting. Like, no, unfortunately, I was on the receiving end of it. And Fergus was very good at what he done, but it was still exciting. You know what I mean? And I'm an exciting fighter. You know, I'm hard as nails, man. You know, and I don't mean that like I'm a very, very tough man. You know, I'm a very, very tough man, and And I'd always give as much as I can. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I never say anything bad about any fighters. I said nothing bad about Fergus Quinlan. I have nothing bad to say about him or any fighter I fought. I have respect for every boxer that gets in the ring. When you come to watch me fight, you're just coming to watch a guy who enjoys fighting, man, and fights for his family and his town, and that's it, really, man. Like I said, I wear my heart on my sleeve, man. I'm not the most skillful fighter, but I'm very enjoyable to watch,
That's great, and that's good to hear. And so, I mean, you spoke a bit about how you're wanting to get back to the titles and believe next year you will be back at that kind of level. And so, how far do you believe you can go in your career?
I'm not sure, man. Like, I want a Celtic title. I want an Irish title. Irish title is the biggest title here in Ireland, so I want an Irish title, man. So for me right now, that's what I see. That'll be the cream de la creme for me if I get an Irish title, man. So if I can get an Irish title, man, I do believe I get one. That's what I want. Maybe challenge for an international title after that. Who knows, man? But right now, man, all I see is that green strap to Irish title. I want one, man. I want one, and so we're going to do our best to get one now,
Definitely, that's great. Okay, well, I'll leave with this final question, which I always like to ask. You've got a little bit of a platform here. Would you like to shout anything out?
I'd just like to say thanks to all my supporters, thanks to all my sponsors, thanks to everybody who tunes in or supports me in any way, shape or form, to all my sponsors, to my beautiful wife and kids, to my manager, to my coach, to my team. I just love them all. They're all so brilliant, man, and I'm so grateful to have them all support me and behind my back. And 2023, I'm coming back. And thank you very much for having me on for the interview, my friend.
It has been a privilege, mate, and thank you very much again. And maybe a little bit further along down the line, maybe by next year when you're fighting for titles again, we can come back and do a return interview.
Yeah, definitely, man. 100%.
Great. Okay, nice one. Well, if you are new around here and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you do need like video, and thanks for watching.